So, part of the issues I've had with the printer is it had a fucked up FEP screen on it. Which means we had a failure in here that I've got to rebuild. Oh, no worries. I know you guys are food shopping. But the rest of it printed out okay, and we're going to start working on this. Still trying to nail down the color. It's like a mix of gunmetal and gray and gold and bronze. So I'm just going to rebuild the lattice work that got ruined. Hi, Frank. Okay. I'm not too worried about fixing everything perfectly. I just want to hide the damage a little bit. I'm not about to waste another 12 hours reprinting the part. I got the FEP replaced, everything's re-leveled, and the final part printed out really well last night. Why have we not gone to the next song? Weird. Okay. Hey, Alex. I'm gonna make that one longer. And that one. Oh boy. Did I mess things up? Nope, that one fits. Okay. Who's behind me? We have a mittens. You got down. I'm sure other people would have been like, oh, just reprint it. I can make this. No, if like this whole structure hadn't printed, then yeah, I would have reprinted it. It did. Um, Thing is, if you look into its production history, some of the implausibility in the film is more due to budgetary and actor constraints than anything. They did have spacesuits for the final scene where they were getting onto the escape ship, but they couldn't see the actors' faces well enough. So they decided to get rid of them. Now, there's a bunch of things that would have granted the story a whole bunch more of visual believability that just didn't happen. That could have. A lot of the camp that's in it now, and a lot of the stuff that it gets knocked for, was because of last-minute studio and budgetary decisions. The core film itself was actually, for what it was back in the 70s, pretty solidly made. Probably gonna have to use a lot of these pieces for cross members now. Because it seems like I've got to custom cut a lot of these once I find out that they're not long enough. Fucking wonderful. Where'd that land? I kind of want that. It was a perfect size. Damn it. I'll find it later. And let me know if you guys would like to see more Forever Winter. Last time I streamed it, I didn't realize I had the game volume down low, so it was hard for you to hear the game. Yeah, gotta make all these bigger. Every now and again, there's talk of a remake of The Black Hole. Last time, it was the director of Tron Legacy that was supposed to do it. I don't know if it was Tron Legacy's poor performance that kind of canned that idea, or other things. Oh yeah, I've got the Cygnus as well. I may get a second one next year when it comes back out. I don't know yet. Grabbed it too close to the middle. Now this fix isn't going to be perfect, but it should be relatively invisible once the model is painted and everything else is together. What's really sad is I posted this in one of the black hole groups that's on Facebook, and as typical with a lot of fandoms these days, instead of just appreciating that somebody was making the model, you've got those assholes that immediately start in on ripping it apart and bashing the detail of it and this and that. It's like, dude, one, it's not done, and two, I didn't make the fucking files. You know, I'm just building the model. So I deleted the post and left the group because I'm like, I got better things to do with my time than deal with this shit. What's the saying going around these days? Be better. And I almost felt like saying to the person who was doing it, like, okay, let's see what you've done. I almost said it, but it wasn't worth it. We're arguing about we're talking about a sci-fi movie that's as old as my car. But it's also proof that people on the internet will argue anything. I could put up a square of color that says this is blue, and it would be a blue color, but I can guarantee you somebody would pop up, that's actually ultramarine, it's not blue. Jesus fucking Christ, people. turn off my heater. It's starting to cook me a little bit. Ow, 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 ow. But I'm still in the camp that, you know how Reinhardt made all of his robots out of the humans that were left over on the ship from the revolt? I think Maximilian was Kate's father. No worries, just... You guys know how that shit really gets to me sometimes. We're not allowed to enjoy things anymore, it seems. There seems to be this new unwritten rule of, oh, you enjoy something? Therefore I shall shit on it. So I've still got a few figures to finish. I'm trying to get a good palette cleanser project, which I hope that the Palomino and the logging truck I'm going to be working on are kind of those things. And I'm still trying to figure out what figure I want to print after I finish some of those. I've got Eve from Stellar Blade, or Red Hood from Nike, Goddess of Victory. And I hope to get those done before Kutan Sculpts releases his next figure, which is going to be Ripley from Aliens. So he's done Vasquez, Hicks, and now Ripley. I hope he does Hudson. Hey Aries. Welcome back. I'm alright. How is the shopping of the sustenance? I'm repairing a failed print area that I deemed rebuildable instead of reprinting it. Two people-y? Yeah. Well, you didn't have any cute cashiers to hit on? Or were they all too Texas and not Appalachia enough for you? Oh, gotcha. Good point. Walmart. Walmart is the Mos Eisley of food and household goods. It is a wretched hive. I can't remember the last time I went into a Walmart without the item being of absolute necessity to survival, you know? I sadly had to send the wife there a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, they were the best price in town for tires for the car. For what we needed. And I did work for Walmart for a very short time back in 2009. And I honestly would not wish that place on my worst enemy. Or maybe I would, but that'll be code 3 Katie, so. Okay, just got a couple more of those lattice strips to do. I'm gonna pre-cut some, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I need another strip of that styrene. Too thin. Where did I put it? There it is. No, what had happened on the printer was the vat film. You know, it's okay if your film has some scratches and fogginess on it, but it had become deformed. Oh, my car is definitely up there with the Millennium Falcon. The only difference is it starts when I want it to. But it's just as old and cranky. Oh, fuck. Arnie, no! Cat loves to chew on shit. He's chewing on the antennas for a tank. No, but the tires were for our other car, which had done one too many trips to Washington and back this year than anyone really needs to make. So the rear tires, well, the front tires really, but the two of the tires have basically gone bald. Well, I don't know why. He started chewing on shit again. Probably got some teeth issues. But he's 17 as well, so it's not like, he's not having problems eating, I know that. Made that too short. Hey Nub. Yeah, I finished printing the Palomino from the black hole last night. Just repairing a failed area. And then I'm gonna try figuring out paint. From what I can tell, it's like a bronzy gold color with a lot of like corrosion and stuff like that on it. And then if we reach a stopping point, we'll jump back onto the Pacific Northwest logging truck that I'm working on. Just see how our momentum goes today. Play it by ear. Welcome back. I hope everybody's been having a good weekend. I won't be off again till Thursday after this. I believe most of my days are early days, but I don't know what life is going to throw in the way. Yes, I did. This was printed. You can get the files from goldenarmor.com. They do a whole bunch of stuff. They do Nell from Battle Beyond the Stars. They do the little flying robots from Batteries Not Included. And a couple other things. Now, if somebody could just make a bottle of super glue accelerator that doesn't leak all over the place when you spray it, that'd be great. It's like, oh, you need accelerator, this really expensive shit. Let's make sure half of it goes all over the desk so you can't even use it. Fucking ripoff. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure out the base color for this. I'm thinking of old gold, that way I can work in more bronze tones and gunmetals around the edges and darken it down. There's just not a lot of good pictures to go on of the actual filming model, and I've only seen it twice myself. And that was back in the 90s. It was on the Backlot Tour waiting line at MGM Studios in Florida. There was a little, back and forth queue that you go through to get onto the trolleys that would take you through the actual park. And it was in one of the corners of a bunch of shelves of items on display. No longer there anymore since they got rid of the ride. Damn it. And the original Cygnus, there were two made. One to be destroyed and then one to be saved. Rumor has it, a negligent employee on a forklift destroyed the Cygnus by running into it with the forklift and stabbing it. Hey Cavo, we are working on the Palomino from the old Disney movie The Black Hole. Just trying to repair a filled print area. And then we'll get started on painting. That, and I've got to glue the base to the top before I can even paint. This is going to be an awkward one. How are you doing? Elegoo Saturn 2. God darn it. It's twice now. Where did that one go? There it is. This isn't one piece that I printed. This is 3 parts. Fall out, not back in. Problem is, this little bit of plastic's got some super glue on it, and I don't want it drying in a very obvious area. There we go. Kinda bored, wanted to finish painting your Imperial Knight. Well, as they like to say in Monty Python, get on with it. Only about 3 or 4 days. Spent more time printing than anything. This part was 12 hours, that part was 12 hours. And I had a lot of misprints I had to fix and recalibrate things for. Let's get this glued down here, shall we? Well, I am not one of those people that's a bandwagon person, so if you have a preferred resin, that's cool. I've gone through the whole try this resin, try that resin rigmarole. No thanks. My misprints were due to equipment failure, not resin failure. That's actually one thing that really tends to piss me off about the printing community is you can ask a very simple question of why is my print failing in this manner, right? Like it could be uneven vat, or uneven print bed leveling, things like that. Like foggy FEP, distorted FEP, any number of very simple things. You ask that question though, and what happens? Out of the woodwork comes all these other people. Try this blend of resin with this blend of resin. No, it's not your fault. I'm just explaining my experiences in it. So when it comes to all that stuff, I kind of tend to, and I don't mean to be mean about it, but I shut people out because I asked a question that should have a rather simple answer in terms of what happened to cause this failure. And it turns into this 3D printing dick measuring contest between some people. And it's like, well, I use Ceratec mixed 50-50 with Elegoo clear green with, this much retarder and this. It's like, okay, that doesn't answer my question though. My question is, why did this print fail in this manner? And yeah, it's just a really arg kind of thing, if you get my drift. So hobbies are a very personal thing to me, and when I run into that, it's like the whole ask a question, get 10 answers, and only 3 of them actually deal with the question you asked. And it's really annoying, so I tend not to go to 3D printing groups or anything like that. If I have an issue, I kind of stop, look at what I'm printing, how I'm printing it, and go from there. It's nothing against you, but just I like what I like and I use what I use. If you have something else you like, that's cool. But failures aren't always because of the brand of resin you use. They're more than often an equipment problem. I've been using almost exclusively Elegoo water wash for 3 years now and have had no issues. I actually prefer it over a lot of other brands. It's thinner, cures just as well. It's actually better than the 8K resins that are out there, I think. I tried using 8K resin when I first got my printer, and it actually turned out crappier. Okay, now I need to get all of these glued to there. Yeah, but I bet you could have a problem, right, Nub? And you could ask, okay, why did my print fail this way? I want to know so I can adjust my settings, right? You're just asking a simple question of, a mechanical issue on your equipment. And there's probably somebody out there that would say, use this brand of PLA, not that one. And it makes you want to tear your hair out because that's not answering your question. What, Mark? I know, I'm ranting again. I'm sorry, bud. Yeah. See, I've got an artillery in the corner. It was given to me, and I've not touched it. Because I do have a use for a FDM printer. I haven't gotten into actually starting it up and using it because I want to start printing some larger tank parts. For my RC tanks. Yeah, any printer's a good printer once you get it dialed in. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm just bringing the actual engine supports up to the lower hull where they're supposed to be and attaching them. The files on this could have been better. However, it's the only game in town, and it'll look quite nice sitting next to the Cygnus once I have it finished. Few stray supports to clean up still. I've got this right here. I could patch that up, but I don't want to. So I'll probably save these little antennas for last, I think. Or should I put them on? No, I'll knock them off if I put them on now. But to me, this looks as it should. Exactly, Nub. And I didn't want to seem like I was going off on Cavo, but just when people start talking about their preferences in resin, especially after my own personal experiences, I shut down. I shut them out because, to me, I mean, it's one thing if you're doing it on a professional level, like if you're printing mechanical stuff that needs to be precise. I get that. I'm using it to print this shit. Right? For myself. I could give, and I've even stated as much when I've forwarded the questions, and I could give two craps about the you know, nth degree of a micron correctness and all that. I'm printing sci-fi spaceships and big boob anime girls. I'll leave these till last because I will wind up snapping those off. So I'm thinking, looking at the pictures of the filming model that I do have, I can go in all the broad areas of the main structure with basically old gold or a... Hi, Arnie. Wow, you haven't done that in a while. Give me a second, guys. I don't want him falling and possibly scratching me. I'll just lay this like this so you can see the ship. Hey, buddy, you need to come over here, okay? There you go. There you go, old boy. Yeah, I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, it basically, you bought it and it was tangled, but you don't know until you open the box. But what I was thinking of doing is all the larger panels hit with gold, right? Sounds weird, trust me, the base color is like a gold bronze color. And then go back with gunmetal, since I don't have as much of that as I think I'd like. That's black. Where's my gunmetal? It's over here. So yeah. So go back with gunmetal and chase around all the details with it, which would also darken down the gold color once it's on. And then see how that sets and go from there. Because there's a lot of stuff going on with this ship. Yes, Arnie, I know. What? You got an eye boogie. There we go. Good boy. Actually, there's 3 parts I didn't print. I will get to them. They're basically just little fan blades that go in here. Let's actually go in with black. Pre-shade, then gold, then gunmetal. Got 2 bottles of gold. That might be too bright. Where's my other stuff? Trying to pre-plan a little bit. It'll save me from some headaches later. Dark green. Did I put all my metallics on a different rotary? I did. What, Marmar? Oh, you're over there. Not exactly, Nub. If you Google the ship, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about. There's enough pictures out there to get yourself an idea, but still confuse the hell out of you. Ooh, I've got bronze. I will probably go with bronze instead. That's closer. I don't want gold. Gold is too bright. So yeah, bronze with gunmetal shading, but we'll black pre-shade around all the details. Yes, we have kind of a plan. Thin this out a bit more. Hi, Arnie. You're gonna be spraying some paint here soon, bud, so you're gonna have to get down. Come here. Oh, Allie and Marbles are fighting. Down you go, bud. There you go. I should say they're just playing. You can't see them from there. There's Marmar. Marbles! What are you doing? Hmm? You being good, Allie? Alright. I think we've got a good plan started here. Airbrush. Oh, Arnie, out of the way. So I'm starting to reuse Tamiya bottles, and what I'll do is Vallejo paints are essentially a concentrate. So I will spray, or I'll squirt like half a jar or half of a bottle of Vallejo and cut it with thinner into a Tamiya bottle that's been cleaned out. And that way you can have sprayable Vallejo, or even brushable, but in a more easy access jar. There will be a certain degree of corrosion on the model. Why corrosion in space, I don't know. Yes, I know things can corrode in space, but not the oxygenated type. Excuse me. That's basically it. It just brings it, makes it more attractive to the eye. But when I print out those fans, there's also a small Vincent that goes with this. Judging from the size of the doors, it's looking like this is about a 1/144th scale model. I was thinking of putting Vincent on the bottom like he was in the film. Now it does come with an interior, so if you wanted to open up these 3 windows and leave this part loose, you could have the interior in there, but it still wouldn't be terribly visible. See if I have an empty bottle to put that bronze into when I go to paint that. Because Vallejo metallics, unless they're pre-mixed for airbrushing, are extremely thick. And I'm still trying to think of a decent display base for it. Ow, 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 ow. Trying to scoot closer. Overall, I'm very happy with this model. The files are, decent price. They're 29 bucks. But that's about the going rate for decently made 3D files, right? And that's the other thing, the black hole group I put this on. Someone even complained about the price of the files, and I'm like, I think it did better than that. The movie didn't have a high budget. I know it made its money back, but that's about it. And it was one of the last studio-produced films, whereas everything was done in-house. There was no ILM hired. It was all produced by Disney. And it was their first PG movie. I just don't think people were expecting a borderline horror movie in space from Disney. Yeah, for me, for most files, 30 bucks and under is a good deal. When it starts getting over 30, I start questioning whether I should buy it or not, you know? but the going rate for decent figure files, especially considering with printing you can upscale things as much as you want. So if you want something that's bigger, up the percentage. Just make sure the files are detailed enough and made well enough you can do that. Like, you could take a lot of figures made for 1/6 and 7th scale prints, and you can up them to 1/3 scale without losing a lot of fidelity. And generally the sculpting of the figure won't change much either in terms of proportions. Now you take something that looks good as like a wargaming mini, you know, and try and upscale that to a 1/6 scale figure's height, then you're going to run into problems, because a wargaming figure, unless sculpted at a larger size than shrunk down, just doesn't have, you know, it doesn't have the proportions and detail fidelity to warrant upscaling. Curio cabinets. Oh yeah. It's like, yeah, I get it, times are tough, but garbage is still garbage, you know? When it comes to cabinets and stuff, I almost always buy new. The ones behind me were from a place I used to work at, and they remodeled, so I got 3 of the old display cases. That'd be about $350. That is an old South Park joke too, from back in the day. What the hell's going on? But again, there's like the guy that complained about the file costs. And I wrote this whole long thing. I deleted it. I didn't post it. But it was like, you can bitch about file costs, right? But when you buy them for $3 off of a site like Special STL or Etsy from somebody who's paid the money and resold it, and now they're making, you know, they're making pennies on the dollar comparatively, but they're making more money than the original person because they're selling it cheaper. Well, that's money the original person is not making. And that original creator is going to then go, well, I didn't make much money on that, so I guess people didn't want to buy it. So I'm not going to make any more. And then people complain that, you know, hey, where did all the good file artists go? Where did all the good files go? Well, it's because you didn't want to spend $30 from the actual person. Instead, you spent $3 from a Etsy reseller, and now that actual person doesn't do it anymore. Like the Nikkei figures I print. I know there's a couple artists out there that do them, and they usually charge $15 to $20 for the files. Perfectly good price for me. The way I know they're coming out with new stuff, because I don't have enough money to do Patreon all the time, right? But I keep an eye on their Patreons, and I'll see that from time to time they come out on sites like Special STL and Etsy early, because people buy them from the Patreon and then resell them. Once I know that it's coming out, I just keep an eye on their CG Trader or their Cults 3D pages and buy them from there. Come on. It's not clogged. What the fuck? it's the equivalent to resin recasting back in the day. When somebody would do a resin figure or a vehicle kit, and then it would wind up on E2046. It's like, well, that person's not going to be making any more because of all the revenue they just lost. But that's the equivalent when you're putting them on special and Etsy and all that. It's like E24. Who's Nico? What does he do? Oh. Yeah, I'm not too much on helmets and stuff. Now, the thing I'm tired of seeing is, every time a Marvel movie comes out, look, another version of Thor's hammer, or another version of Captain America's shield. Okay, yes, we get it. Keep getting a lot of tip dry. The weather is changing here radically. It's going to possibly be snowing by Tuesday night. But that's me. I don't buy Marvel stuff. I am not the target audience for Marvel anymore. It's been kind of like that recently here. We've had an unusually warm fall, though. Maybe I will get on later and play some more Forever Winter. See how this goes. With only one day off at a time most times, I kind of have to split what I want to do on the day with what I have to do. I'm not parking the Camaro till there's salt on the roads, though. When I make the display base for this, it's going to be on an angle on one engine though. That way you can see all the different sides of it. The engine bases are actually printed solid, so they'll take the weight. I think a good 1/8" steel rod in there should do it just fine. What's weird is the mountains here got a lot of snow last year, but down here didn't, which is good. My wife went and bought 4 bags of ice melt at one point. We still have 3.5 left. Uptime's looking like an hour and 17. Once I get done with this, I'm going to take a move around break. I suggest the rest of you do as well if you've been sitting around watching me or working on models yourselves. Don't need a blood clot stealing any of you from us just yet. Hey Sidewinder, how you doing? Come on, paint, start working with me. I don't care that you're a little spattery, it'll help underneath, but I need you to be at least flowing. You don't build models, you just hoard them. What do you mean, am I mad? I think we just need more moistened bents lobbing Gundam kits at people. Shit. If I sound quiet, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I'd moved my microphone halfway across the desk when I was cleaning. It's normally right here in front of my face. Was that sarcasm from Ares? I could never tell. How am I quite? Are we misspelling quiet to quite? Kind of like how we're misspelling cat to car for cat videos? Oh, that poor pussy. No, I had somebody tailgating me on the way home from work the other night, and we were just at a stoplight. You know, typical, you know, you're already doing 10 over, and guy in the big ass pickup truck, you're in my way, you know, that kind of guy. So yeah, I just stomped on it off the light and was at 80 miles an hour and further down the road than he expected, quicker than he could blink. I gotta get this tip off and find out why it's clogging up. And I gotta sit differently for a second while I do that. Where did my little red pliers go? They should be in here. Hello, little red pliers. There they are. But you know the type of guy. You're already, you're already doing 10 over in the right lane in the U.S. and they're still on your ass when all three other lanes are open. And then they'll pass you just to exit at the exit that opened up to your right as you were there. Yep, and they always got to be in front, but they got to get around that one car, even though they could have just pulled over to the right to get off at the exit because it was right there. But nope, they got to pass that one car because, tiny balls. Oh, right now my daily likes to scream and howl. At least until the salt hits the road, then I'll park her. They're growing only because Toyota Hilux and stuff like that are becoming bigger generationally as well. I don't think Ford's going to be importing much. You got the usual transit vans and stuff, but it's not like you got lifted F-350 dualies screaming up on you, unless you live around Lakenheath or Mildenhall or some other American installation. Really? You wouldn't think gigantic pickups like that would gain popularity. Then again, you got dumb rednecks everywhere, I guess. Are they export version F-150s? Like, are the steering wheels on the English side, or are they ones that other people have imported and they just deal with having things backwards? That is my paint water. But this is also why I never make the mistake of drinking my paint water. Because I don't have my paint water in a container that I could mistake it for my coffee mug. And the Tupperware dish isn't as easy to turn over. So that's cleaned up for now. I am going to take my move around break. I'm also going to shake up the bronze paint and find a bottle to decant it into, so that way I can put that coat on when we return. So I will be right back. I am back. But we will have a snack first. So I've got my empty bottle, I've got my bronze. And we'll have some marble cake. Oh, yeah, the Ranger, especially if it's the older style one, the Mazda B3000, essentially. Now, I learned something funny the other day. The Renault Megane never got never got imported to the U.S. A lot of people forget the Ranger used to be a trim package level for the F100 and F150. I know my Camaro could. It's a surprisingly small car for its age. Saw it parked next to a Tesla one day. Uh-oh. And, my God, if they actually managed to shrink a Tesla down to 78 Camaro sizes, they might actually get 500-600 miles to the battery per charge. Exactly. Okay. Now keep in mind this will just be the base color. Well, unfortunately, right now, for the foreseeable future anyway, Ford is the only company making a two-door V8 car. Chrysler is discontinuing the Challenger. Chevy is discontinuing the Camaro once again. And that leaves Ford as the only ones making anything. Oh, that's still a bit thick, I think. The Corvette has become something else. It's no longer a... None of them really are. But where... They used to call the Camaro the poor man's Corvette. Because up until the mid-80s, when they redesigned the Corvette from the ground up, the Camaro shared the same engine, drivetrain, and mostly transmission with your bog standard Corvettes. The only thing that gave the Corvette a real edge was the weight factor. It had a fiberglass body. That was until the 80s when they actually had to nerf the Camaro because they made something that would defeat the Corvette. And same thing with the Firebird. There was a twin-turbo V6 Firebird that would actually beat Corvettes. But now it's turned into some weird hypercar wannabe thing that just What, Frank? Oh, that's Arnie. Hi, buddy. The Corvette's in a class of its own. Chevy or Ford's got nothing in production, I think, that's close. Even the GT40 is oddly not comparable. Alright, hopefully I got the mix okay on this. Let's find out. I know this sounds weird, but from what I can tell, pictures of the filming model, it was a bronze color to begin with. But that's just it. The Corvettes aren't made for the average guy to go buy anymore. They're these hyper powerful, you know, they're these crazy cars. Even the Camaros kind of become like that. They still have their baseline RS options, but now they've got all these hyper horsepower versions that you can buy too. You know, long gone are the days of buying a baseline car and working it up. You can buy pretty decent, strong cars off the floor now. That said, the Challenger, the Scat Packs and all them still need that supercharger to even get up to where they can compete, because out the gate they're 1,000 pounds heavier than my Camaro. I'm just not a fan of newer cars, to be honest. They wear the name, but they cheat for it. But that's just it. That's just a name. That's a package name. You go look what the original Dodge Demon was. The original Demon, from what I remember, was a 1970-71 Sport Dart. Or what turned into the Dart 340 Sport was originally the Demon. They're putting these names on things that really haven't earned them. I'm gonna have to give my whole hobby room a cleanse after this, because I'm essentially spraying glitter. Because people saw through it and that it was just a neon with a new body. Okay, sounds like this playlist is over. I had one of the original darts. Give me my original dart. Well, that and, what is it, Stellaris is the name of the company, I think, that owns that part of Dodge. SRT no longer exists. That division of Chrysler is gone. You will no longer see cars with that badging. Spray. Yep, just happened this year. For crying out loud. Thinks the paint is still too thick. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the American automotive industry is in big trouble right now. A lot of divisions and things are closing. I mean, you got to wonder when car companies are having to put a dealer cost on a vehicle that used to cost as much as a house. Is there life left in that brand? When you're having to pay $140,000 for the latest Dodge truck? I'm sorry, what? You know, that's what people were paying for houses 4 years ago. That's what everybody's hoping for, Nub. In a lot of cases, yeah, the V8 can be superfluous, but at the same time, there is a necessity for a power plant that can do what V8s do. You want to go greener? Fine. Don't go after the countries that are already reducing their emissions. Go after the ones that aren't. Oh wait, that's where the current day labor trade is, though. We can't go shutting that down just yet, because we've already killed our own. That means we'd have to bring production back here. Or, I don't know, maybe not buy that new car every other year and maybe fix the old one you got. You know, the one that's paid off that you don't really owe anything on. I am having trouble spraying this shit today. I might have to do this in 2 phases anyway. You should see how much they want for my 1978 shitbox. Doesn't mean I'm gonna sell it. Oh yeah. Yeah, the value ratings of things lately has become so oddly skewed. It's hard to tell what's legitimate and what's just like bullshit. Now, even on an older diesel, the only reason people want that much for older diesel is because it doesn't have a DEF system. That's what's really gone up in price right now, is any diesels that are non-DEF. And yes, there is a reason I'm not getting the overall base coat extremely even. Depending on who's owned it before you, yeah. The ones around here, you're going to be lucky to get another 10 grand out of them, mileage-wise. So if the original model was made of brass, like it is suspected that the Cygnus and the Palomino were both made of brass parts, it would go that they're bronze colored like this first, and then they've been weathered and faded down. There's even pictures of somebody spraying a matting agent onto the Palomino on the soundstage. No, in my line of work, I honestly can't stand diesel owners. They are some of the most egotistical, nastiest, and honestly shit-brained customers I have to deal with. You try and help them. I got '09 Cummins. Okay, what's it in? Huh? What's it in? I'm not going to automatically assume you've got a fucking Dodge. You're talking about the engine. You're not talking about the vehicle that it's in. Cummins is more than just Dodge. Well, there was one time a guy came in, I think it was for a Cummins, and I think it was the '04 Econoline? But anyway, it was like the shittiest thing you could think of that, you know, it would be in. Yeah, that's what it, but no, there was one, it Yeah, it was in a van, and they came in, they pulled that whole, I got comments thing, and I just brought up the van. I'm like, wait, no! I'm like, you just told me an engine, buddy. They get so pissed when you do that. It hurts their little egos. Oh my god. Some of them? Around here, it's a good 99%. Yeah, it's not all, but I have yet to meet one that, you know. No, Power Stroke owners aren't that bad. They don't come in and say, I got no wait, Power Stroke. No, they name the vehicle they have. This is definitely going to be a multi-stage paint job. Because I'm going to need to let this dry long enough that I can handle it to do the undersides of everything. Ow. I'm sorry to be so ranty today, but just lately it feels like there's a lot in the world that you just want to scream at people because they're... I don't know. It just... I'm getting tired of a lot of shit. I can't even go to a Cars and Coffee without people politicizing it. Like, I just want to, especially when people start throwing around their party stuff, I just want to say, you do realize you're voting for two different slices of bread on the same shit sandwich, right? I wouldn't doubt it, man. So you probably know the exact kind of people I'm talking about, too, when I talk about, they come in and just start... Hey, it's work. But the real question is, it's not your fault, it's the stereotype of the people that do it, you know? All it takes is one bad one to fuck it up for everybody else. Well, it's kind of like how, you know, my wife is a model builder's widow, you know? Because I spend more time down here with this shit. Yeah, she's got her own hobbies, but still, that's a common joke. Seems like people got no sense of humor anymore either. I'm gonna have to let that dry, because even handling it, I'm beginning to lift the paint. So that'll have to dry for a day or three. Who am I kidding? I'll probably get back onto it tonight and fuck it all up. But I'm gonna clean out the desk, get the paint residue off, and we'll get the logging truck out. Start working up that. Oh yeah. I get it. People don't like, everyone's about this whole electric car thing. It's like, do you realize anything at all made these days cannot be made without a petroleum product? Well, yeah, they're worse, because there's more production behind them and fewer materials to recycle from their manufacturing. Like in the standard automotive industry, all the leftover metal from like the casting process of the engine blocks and the manufacturing of the aluminum plates for the bodies and stuff, you could recycle all that. And like Ford, they actually had the ability to do that at one of their plants. You know? They had smelting and everything on site for the longest time. Even power generation. Yet with EVs, you know, they still don't know how to fully recycle the batteries properly, you know, efficiently. Can it be done? Yes. But there's more waste in the production of an EV than there is in the production of a standard steel vehicle. I think somebody actually did a study. They studied like an old car from the 70s, kind of like my Camaro. They took the output, the waste output from 1 year of its production as opposed to the waste output from 1 year of an EV's production, and it turns out the EVs were more wasteful. Kind of like that news report about the new EV plant that's going up somewhere in like Wyoming or Tennessee, somewhere in the middle of the country. And they said it's gonna take so much power to produce, it'll need its own coal firing plant. It's like, keep thinking, you're almost there, you know. Come on, complete the thought process. Well, that's why it's called the Columbus generation. They keep thinking they're discovering shit, and they're not. What if we made a wind power for ships that could move them across the ocean? You mean sails? Oh, ow. Pause this real quick. Shut that off. Throw me the idol. I throw you the whip. Oh, wait. But the reason I'm going with those colors, let me get a picture up on here real quick. And the more I see the filming model, the more I'm backed up that it's going to be just a brass base color. Even now that I look at pictures of it on screen in the movie. I'll have to dull it down, and I'm probably going to overdo it weathering-wise. Let me just take a picture of the actual color to show you guys real quick. It looks, like I said, it looks like a base brass bronze color. Come on. But with a lot of corrosion effects on it. See what I mean? That's the actual filming model. So this looks weird, right? But once I start getting into the gunmetal and all the other stuff and the streaking and the corrosion, I think it'll start to even out. Oh yeah, they're kind of like crossfitters and vegans. They don't understand the pretentiousness of their own position. And I don't mean people who have a vegetarian diet. Not all of them are bad like that, but I'm talking the ones where they walk into a room and kind of like Jack Black, I am vegan. Okay, go fuck yourself, you know. It's like I don't walk into a room and immediately state my personal diversions for everybody to see, so exactly. So if you all will give me a moment to go upstairs, wash my hands. It's going to take your usual handiness to break into. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to go wash my hands real quick, and then we'll get started on the... Oh, I'm already started on it. I've got the chassis assembled. I want to paint the rims, get them assembled, get everything else on the chassis. No. No, it doesn't work that way. But I'll be right back, Aries. And we're back. I believe it. It's like, wait, so you're dairy and gluten intolerant, yet you want a grilled cheese on white. It doesn't work that way. It's like that scene in Dead Like Me where the guy wants a patty melt but describes a cheeseburger. You gotta wonder how much of it. I mean, yeah, there's legit circumstances out there. Don't get me wrong. But you gotta wonder how much of it these days is keeping up with the sheeple. Like, oh, the last time I ate this, I got a tummy ache. It must mean I'm allergic. No, it means you probably got some shit food from that food truck, and you caught something. It doesn't necessarily mean you are this or that. Have you been to a doctor about it? No, then shut up. Oh no, I get that. That's what I'm saying is there are legit people out there like that, and 9 times out of 10 is because they've actually been clinically diagnosed, and that's fine. But when you're just a nervous little wreck of a shih tzu of a person, and everything you eat gives you diarrhea, is it the food you're eating, or is it because you've got a chemical imbalance due to your constant nervousness? Or is it possible you've got a gallbladder issue, causing you to overproduce bile, which again gives you the shits? There's tons of different reasons, but I've personally run into so many people who immediately jump to the excuse answer that's the popular one in the media and not actually gotten checked out. And that's what I'm just sick of seeing. All the Google doctors out there, right? Frame better not be bent. Okay, so I stripped the chrome off of these because on every single yep, exactly, Alex. But every single logging truck that I saw when I was up in Oregon, none of the rims were chrome. And I'm running out of paper towels. Another trip to the dollar stores in order soon. Well, the cool thing is I actually found a model of this specific trailer used up there, because it's the only place I've seen it with that very specific style of headache rack, where it's the M-shaped one. Every place else just has hard plate steel or something as a headache rack. The only place I noticed this particular one was up there. And at first I thought I got the wrong truck because I got an International Harvester. It's a 70s one. But it came with a an overnight cab. And I'm like, ah, great. You know, I got the wrong one, because I know most of them don't have that, because they're not on long hauls. However, you can build the kit without the cab. So, there we go. So I'm going to hit these up with some black as a base, and to get the inside, the back sides done. And then we'll get the aluminum out. Where is it? That's steel. That's dark aluminum. There. We'll use the acrylic Vallejo metal color aluminum as the base. Then we'll work on detail painting the engine. And this might be where we wrap the stream anyway, because I didn't realize it's been over 2 hours, and I usually don't go much past 3 hours. Because really, long streams are good, and I do want to get longer streams. But how many people really stay interested for that amount of time? Right? It seems that 3 to 4 hour streams are typically the biggest extent for most people. I know, but it's also like, how much of my own personal concentration can I afford? And there are other things I have to get done with the day. Hey, David. Welcome, welcome. And if anyone's a new sub on the YouTube side, thank you again. We're at 325 now. We are at 325 subs on the YouTube side, which means we've gained about 20 in the past month. Well, this is the Ertl kit. I can show you the box art if anyone wants to pick the truck up. It's actually a cool truck. One I would like to get just got re-released this month. It's the Kenworth, I think it's the W600 sleeper cab. It's basically like the one in the old BJ and the Bear TV show, but blue instead of red. Uh-oh. Watch your face. So I do appreciate everybody who's been subbing over on the YouTube side. Once we get that over 1,000, we can start looking into monetizing that. Because I hate to say it, I don't know how much longer Twitch itself is going to be around. "17 years with no profit"? It's not sounding good. Yeah, so. I know, I'm just trying to get the other side of things built up. So if I need to, we can just switch over to that completely. Plus, overall, YouTube is a bit better for, one, it's a larger audience, and two, you get more, I call it drive-by viewings. Somebody is more likely to get a YouTube video for an obscure thing like painting a International Harvester truck than Twitch. And you'll see the reason for the black base coat on the rim side, even though they're going to be aluminum, is the aluminum, the metal color paints require a black base almost, just so they show up better. Think of them as a acrylic version of Alclad almost. Yeah, Twitch has a quicker path to monetization if you're starting out with streaming. But at the same time, they've got a much more limited customer base. And let's face it, most people on Twitch are here for the hot tub streamers and the video game players. I mean, yes, it's cool that we do have our little segment of model builders and miniature painters, but let's face it, that's not why people are on Twitch anymore. It never was why people were on Twitch. We're the side chat going on while everybody else is doing something else. It doesn't mean people can't have successful channels, but it's just not as likely. Alright, was there anything else I needed to paint black immediately? Not that I can think of. I'll have to let those dry for a bit. Ew. Well, the thing is, like, YouTube, for as screwed up as it's become, its main goal from the start was so you, me, or anybody could make a video, put it online, and people would see it. That is the baseline for all of YouTube. You know? It's changed over the years. There's different things about it now. You can do different things with it, but at its core, it's about doing that. Twitch is a reappropriated just-in TV, which in itself started out as making gaming videos. That's why it's called Twitch, because certain gamers have a Twitch when they play first-person shooters. You know? I get that. It's become something more. It does, and there's tools you can do that on YouTube as well. Commands, things like that. But on the other side of that is YouTube has more of a shotgun effect in terms of engagement, where you can get more random passerbys. You know, there could be another guy like me, you know, late 40s, used to build models when he was a kid, looking to get into it, stumbles across my channel. You may have looked at other channels, but all those people are using the expensive shit and throwing names out there like MIG and pigments and filters and all this other stuff, and they're like, what the fuck are they talking about? What happened to the hobby? Meanwhile, here I am just saying, airbrush your acrylic paint, you know. Don't worry about this or that. It's the basic stuff. Here's your glue. Smear it on, hold your parts together, good to go. And I'm not sitting here I'm not sitting here trying to get people to buy a product. Well, kind of. Invest in me. Speaking of what, Mig? Let's not go there. Believe it or not, Windex, or, you know, this is pre-thin, so you can just airbrush it straight. So I just use Windex to clean out the airbrush. But for like the thicker stuff, I just use Windex. It doesn't tear the paint. People are like, oh, you must use distilled water and this and that. For some of the brands out there, yeah, you do kind of have to stick with their proprietary stuff. Especially MIG and AK. Their paints are formulated weirdly. They're called acrylics, but they behave like enamels. Got an itchy. Has package at door. Let me go get package. Pause it again. That'll give these rims enough time to dry up some so I can put the aluminum on them. Yeah, they need to dry a lot more actually. Derp. Okay, be right back. Gonna pause. Yay, I has RAM. I'll have to put that in on Thursday before I stream to see about pulling the computer out and opening it up. I know it's going to be hard to get this in next to the heat exchanger though. But I know it can be done if you did it. And yes, I know it only fits one way. Okay, how are we drying here, paint? Do I have to put a little heat on you? The chrome didn't strip off completely, but I wasn't too worried about that. That one needs a bit longer. a bit longer. Oh, so that'll get me up to 32 with just what's in there? Yeah, it is 2 by 16. Okay. Could I just leave the other one in there and have even more? Or would that not be good because I'd be mixing the rates on the megahertz? It only has 2 slots? Okay. Gotcha. I know not to mix rates, Nub. That's why I was asking, because I don't know the rate, the megahertz, or the refresh rate of what's in there right now. Because it'll always balance to the lower rate. Okay. I'm gonna blow some air over these to see if that can help speed up the drying, which it is. My eye. Yeah, that's why you got a 2-stack. I figured as much. Well, he also sent me just a better overall quality RAM chip, or RAM cards, so. But I know this computer isn't half bad if it can run a game like Forever Winter at max with no modification. So let me get these tires out of here. Make sure that's off to the side. And with these Vallejo metallics, you'll be tempted to go and just throw a full coat on. Missed it. Go light. Because this stuff is very thin. You could easily get it on too heavy, and that'll cause you a lot of other problems. It really is almost like an acrylic equivalent of Alclad. These should keep up just fine with the GPU that is on the computer. I forget to get the rims, the edge of the rim. The rim of the rim. But yeah, this last couple weeks on YouTube, I've seen more new subscribers on there than in recent months, so that's a good thing. Must mean I'm doing something right. $32 is more than enough for my needs. It'll make rendering for slicing 3D print files a lot easier, and playing most of the games that I like easier. One more coat on these. The main reason I also do this is I really don't like Ertl's chrome. It's way too thick. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think this definitely looks a lot better than the Ertl Chrome would have. Alright. And now I look like a James Cameron character reject. But Alex, I had a Windows, I think it was XP computer. Yeah. I ran it until XP was no longer supported. Put it that way. I was streaming on it. And what's sad is the computer I replaced it with was outdated within 3 years, like you were saying. It was completely outdated. And it was doing things fine at the beginning, and within 3 years things had become so bloated in terms of the memory usage and the requirements that it just wasn't worth it anymore. And then the computer I'm currently using was graciously gifted to the stream by our audience. No, Alex, I am not going to be doing that. We are not going to Valhalla. Even though, if you want, I could start printing out the Gigahorse. These rims will also be getting some oil washes for just the dirt and grime effects. I want to have some streaks coming off all the lug nuts. There's going to be a lot going on this. I don't know how crazy I'm going to get underneath the chassis, but it's going to be dirty. I don't know if I want to get into like all the pneumatic lines and stuff for the brake system. The kit has nubs for it. There's nothing in the instructions about it anymore, though. It's like in the original issue way back when it was there, but they decided not to have it anymore. airbrush is cleaned up for now. Can't really do much more painting because I have nothing to clean the brushes on. What the frick? We're waiting for that to dry. So, but it's been 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm probably going to cut stream here for now. Do some things around the house. If things slow down later, I'll probably hop back on and play some Forever Winter. If I'm accompanied by Aries, depends on if he feels like playing it. No, it's not his favorite game right now. But, yeah, thank you all for watching. And I hope to be on next Thursday, if not possibly earlier.